What's going on, guys? It's Groove, back with another book review, and today we have Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. Now, I really enjoyed this book. It's all about your ego and the bad sides to the ego and understanding how to control it and not let it destroy your life. Understand that your ego is your worst enemy in your life. It's not your friends, it's not some family members, it's not co-workers at work that you're competing with, it's your ego. And you need to understand this so you can control it. You know, a lot of ambitious people, it just kind of comes with the territory. Like, you're going to have a big ego, but you can't let it destroy you. You can't let it mess up your life and your relationships. So you need to understand when you need to pull the reins back on that chariot. If it's a chariot, you're the guy in the cart or the woman in the cart, and those horses, think of those as your ego. But you need to understand when to pull the reins back on those horses and dial that ego back in, bring it back in. Put a lid on it, if you will. Now, his definition of ego is an unhealthy belief in your own importance. The need to be better than other people. The need to be more than. The need to be recognized. Like, there's nothing wrong with, if you've put in work and you beat somebody out, there's nothing wrong with that. If you put your time in, if you put your effort in, and then you get recognized with an award. But the need for that, the need to be, I need to do more than this person. I need to beat them. Like, that need is the ego. A lot of ambitious people have big egos, and it can make them pretty successful in life. But understand that it can also hold you back if your ego is big. Not everybody's going to be a Jeff Bezos or an Elon Musk or a Donald Trump, if you will, that has their ego take them to the top of whatever field they're trying to climb in. A lot of times your ego can just hold you back. The ego stops you from receiving criticism. Like, you need that. You need that honest feedback to be like, hey, this is where you messed up at, or here's how you can do better. But if your ego thinks that you're already good enough or nobody can tell you anything, like, it'll stop you from advancing in life. It'll stop you from getting better because maybe somebody has an idea that you didn't think of. Like, okay, I'm doing great in life, or I'm doing great at whatever craft I am, but somebody has an idea that could just take you to that next level, but you don't want to hear them, or you don't want to hear them because you feel like you've got this. I know what I'm doing. I don't need to listen to you. I'm already killing it. I'm already successful. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I don't need to hear nobody else. And that can hinder you from advancing in life. If you believe you're already great, if you start to believe in your own greatness, it stops you from being creative. It stops you from getting to that next level. You feel like you've already won. I'm already at the top. There's nothing else I can do. There's nothing left for me to learn. And that stops the creativity for you to expand in whatever you're doing. If you're in business and you're like, oh, I'm already good enough, like Blockbuster. But then Netflix came along and took them out. Like, you need to understand that there's always things that you can do more. There's always ways to advance. There's always another creative pathway. You don't just get stuck inside of your greatness. Once you reach the top, or once you become successful, always be willing to learn. Always be humble enough to take in new ideas. A few things you can do to suppress your ego is to have humility and discipline. Humility and discipline, they help you become humble, resilient, and gracious. And that way you can always just keep a damper, keep a lid on that ego, and that allows you to just focus on the work and just get better and better. Now, one thing I didn't agree with, he talks about how he gets a lot of pushback with ego, that people will always say, well, most of the great people that have become successful have huge egos. And he says that people like Kanye West, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, that these people are outliers. You don't just need a big ego to get to the top. But I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like you do need a big ego to get to the top. You do need a big ego to be successful in life. But at the same time, again, going back to I like to use the analogy of a chariot. Like, if you're that rider inside that chariot, and those horses, those are your egos. You need to let your horses excel you in life or whatever craft you're doing. Let them take you, but then understand when to pull the reins back on those horses so you can accept criticism, so you can accept people wanting to help you, so you can see new opportunities. I personally believe you need to let your ego drive you. Use that to become successful, but just understand when to pull the reins back. And that's why I love this book. Understanding this information, you get to learn how to pull those reins back. One of the biggest things that kills people is talking. He says, you just need to stop talking so much. Everybody's always like, this is what I'm going to do, or this is where I'm going to be, or I'm going to be great. And he says that, most people just need to stop talking and just start doing. Let the work speak for itself. You don't need to tell everybody that you're going to be great or that you're going to be successful. They will see that through the work, and you'll have more time to put into the work rather than going to just continuously tell people how great you're going to be. Just put the work in, put the time in, be quiet, shut up, and let your work speak for you. So when it comes to pulling the reins back on that chariot, pulling those reins in on your ego, he says the easiest way to do this is just to be humble. And the easiest way to be humble is to just be a student. Continuously be a student of whatever craft you're doing. Never think you've got to the top. Never think you're the best at the craft. Even if you are, like if you're in martial arts and you're a black belt, always stay humble, always continuously learn. Never stop learning about your craft or wanting to get better, or there's always tweaks I can make in business. And maybe, I'm Apple or I'm Microsoft and I'm at the top of my game, but you always need to be innovative in business, in life, and remain a student to remain humble. And that puts a lid on that ego, that you can pull the reins in on that ego. Being humble and not letting your ego become too big can also help you become successful in life. If you're humble and you're helping other people become successful, and you're not trying to, put everybody down so you can be at the top, but if you're helping everybody else around you come up and become great, those people will just bring you up. Like, you will just get brought up faster. You will become more successful faster. And when I mean brought up, like, I'm just talking about, like, maybe at work, if you help somebody get a raise at work, or if you help somebody get to a higher position at work, they will look back and they will recognize you. They will see the people that helped them get to the top, and then you'll be right next up. Maybe somebody gets a position somewhere else that's really, hard to get into, and they know that you helped them. So when that spot comes up, now your name is first on their list to come on over there, or whatever the fact. Like, if you just help more people become successful, the chances of you becoming more successful just rise. And you don't just need to let your ego push everybody down to try to get to the top yourself, like the crabs in the barrel mentality. If you help everybody else, they will help you. And you can only do that if you're humble. One interesting thing that he points out is, he says the best work comes when you don't have an ego. If you can just sit down at your craft or whatever you're doing, and you're just doing work with nothing to prove, I'm not trying to beat anybody. He says that's when the best work comes into play. That is when you do your best work, is when you're not trying to prove anybody or anything to anybody. You're not trying to beat anybody. You're just doing it because you love it. You're just doing it because you want to. You're just doing it because you just want to be creative and you just want to try new things. You're not worried about what the world thinks, or you're not trying to beat anybody or be better than anybody. You're just doing the work for the work's sake. And he says that's when the best work comes out. That's when the best work is released. And that's usually when people become successful, is when they're not worried about others. They're just being creative in their own weird, quirky way, working on their craft, just doing it for the love of it. And that will actually make you more successful. Another interesting thing that he points out, he says that your ego always makes you unhappy. So if you're unhappy in life, maybe you have a big ego. Your ego always makes you feel like you need to be better than somebody. You need to be doing more. You need to be beating somebody. And how that can always make you unhappy, because you feel like you should be further in life than you are. You should be at another level in life than where you are right now. And he says if you kill your ego and you're just happy where you are, if you're just, I'm on my own pace. I see everybody else coming up around me, but that's okay. I'm on my own pace. This is my own life. I will get where I need to be when it's my time. And he says if you kill your ego, you will become more happy in life. A few other things that the ego does. The ego blocks you from seeing the beauty in the world. If you're constantly have this, I'm better and bigger than I actually am, it stops you from seeing the beauty. It stops you from taking a step back. It stops you from just relaxing and looking around and just seeing the beauty in the world. Like going outside, taking a walk in nature. It's just, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, it's all about me. He says it stops you from just seeing beauty in the world. It keeps you on the treadmill because you're constantly chasing. If your ego is just, I need to get that new car, I need to get that new house, I need to get that raise at work. I need to go on that trip of that vacation. I just need to be better than somebody else. He says it just keeps you on that treadmill, and that can keep you unhappy because you feel like it's just never enough, And with that, he says that stripping away that ego, it shows you that life is really short, and we're only here for like a minuscule amount of time. Like most people aren't even here for 100 years. Again, taking that ego away, it can let you appreciate life for the minimal amount of time that we are here. After he's gone over all of these examples of the ego and why you need to, again, pull the reins on those horses and dial that ego back, he wants you to kill it completely. But he says the easiest way to cure your ego is just with love. Loving your neighbor, loving your community, loving your life, loving your spouse, loving your coworkers. If you just go out into the world with positivity and love, it dampens the ego. You don't see anybody or everybody as competition anymore. You just want to help everybody. You want to just be humble. You want to be disciplined. You want to help people. And all of that just comes through love. If you just go out into the world with love in your heart for people and life, he says that can put a dampen or put a lid on your ego. That will propel you to be better in life. It will propel you to be more successful. It will help you enjoy life and have a more fruitful life than just, having a huge ego and letting that spiral you out of control. And then now you're unhappy, people don't like you, they don't want to work with you. So again, the easiest way to cure that is just with love. Have love in your heart to go out into the world and just show love to everybody, no matter where you are, no matter how successful you may be. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. I really enjoyed this book. I've got a few of his books. Yeah, I really enjoy his writing, enjoy his style, the way he brings examples from the ancient Greek or the Roman time period. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in that next one. Peace.